Something changed while you were asleep, and you still know nothing about it. You did not hear a sound. You did not wake. Morning came like any other morning, and the walls around you looked exactly as they always had. Yet during those dark hours, the ground beneath your life moved, and you went on without realizing it. I allowed you to sleep through it for a reason. Fear would have made you hold tightly to things I was removing from your hands. I speak to you now with heaviness, but it is not anger. It is sorrow. I have watched you come very near to what I prepared for you, then step away at the final moment because no one told you it was truly there. That is why I will not allow this moment to pass quietly. Listen to these words. Let them settle deep inside you. There is something with your name upon it. Not a hope, not an emotion. A portion already prepared, protected, and waiting for your hand to reach out and receive it. You have prayed for change so softly that you sometimes wondered whether the prayer ever left your heart. I heard every bit of it. Every sentence you never completed. Every request you stopped making because you felt ashamed to ask again. I have never needed you to speak loudly in order to hear you. My child, hear me. Jacob once lay down on hard earth with a stone beneath his head. He was fleeing. He owned almost nothing. He slept outside like someone who had no future ahead of him. Yet during the night, I opened heaven above that ground, and a stairway appeared between the dust beneath him and the throne above. He saw it because I allowed his eyes to see. When morning came, he spoke words I want you to be able to speak today. He said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." That is where you have been. That is you exactly. I have been inside your home, through your endless nights, in your kitchen at 300 in the morning when sleep would not come, and you did not realize it. I was present in rooms where choices were made about your future, while you waited outside with no voice in them. You believed you were alone during a difficult season. You were never alone. You were being protected. Now I want to tell you what I prevented. Something had been developing against your life. It was quiet. It never announced itself. It moved like decay inside wood, slowly hidden from sight until a beam finally collapses beneath weight. It was meant to reach you during a season when you would have been too exhausted to fight it. And its cost would have been much greater than money. It would have taken years from you. I reached out my hand, and it never touched you. You will never know the complete account of everything I turned aside. Some parts I will never show you, because knowing them would only make you afraid of shadows that are already gone. But there is something I need you to understand clearly. Some doors that shut in front of you were not rejection. They were me standing in the entrance and refusing to allow you into a room that would have changed you for the worse. You cried over some of those closed doors. I know you did. You asked why something you wanted so deeply disappeared from your hands when you believed you had done everything right. I was not punishing you. I was redirecting you. Those are not the same thing, and now you are finally ready to understand it. Remember what happened in the palace of a king many years ago. The king could not sleep, not even for an hour. So he ordered the records of his kingdom to be read aloud during the night. Out of all those long records, the reader came to the name of a man who had once done something good and had never been rewarded. That man was asleep in his own home across the city. He knew nothing about it. By morning, his life had changed, even though he had done nothing that day to make it happen. I still move in that way. Your name has been spoken somewhere you have never entered. Someone spoke it who cannot fully explain why you came into their mind. They felt a quiet push they could not explain, and they acted on it. What they began is already moving in your direction. That prompting came from me. Sit with that for a moment. Someone who has more than enough felt moved in a quiet hour to send something toward a person they may never meet. They did not know your face. They did not know what you had lived through. They only knew the thought would not leave them. So they responded. This is not luck. Luck has no purpose and no memory. What is moving toward you knows exactly where it is headed. For years you have watched other people receive things you were still waiting for, and from that you formed a private belief about yourself. You decided that perhaps you were simply the kind of person good things did not happen to. You never spoke it aloud. You only began living as if it were true, and that hidden belief has harmed you more deeply than many of the hardships you faced. I am pulling that belief out from the root tonight. My beloved, you are not excluded from my goodness. You never were. Your road was simply slower. The slowness had a purpose, and soon that purpose will begin to make sense. There is one thing I need from you now, and it is not perfection. I need your attention. Stay aware. Some things arrive loudly, and no one could miss them. Other things arrive softly and pass anyone who is not watching closely. What I am bringing belongs to the second kind. It will not shout. It will come close, wait quietly, and require you to recognize it. So do not lose focus now. Do not let your thoughts return to the worn-out story you have told yourself about your life. That story has ended. I am speaking a different one now, while you still have time to respond differently to what comes next. Declare your amen. If these words are reaching your spirit, there is a heaviness you have carried that you could never properly describe. You have called it many things. Exhaustion, pressure, a difficult season, growing older. None of those names fully fit, and you knew it because sleep did not remove it. You could rest through the night and still wake already tired. It was not simply your body. Something had attached itself to your path that had no right to remain there. It was released during the night. You will notice the difference before you understand why. Your chest will feel lighter. A sense of dread you became so familiar with that you no longer noticed it will simply be missing one morning. Do not convince yourself that the feeling is imaginary. Your mind is not playing a gentle trick on you. You are noticing the absence of something I removed. Some of what I removed was a situation. Some was a pattern. And some of it, my child, was a person. I need you to hear that without pulling away. Not every person close to you is meant to walk your entire road. Some were beside you for one part, and truly helped you in that part. I do not erase the good they brought, but the path ahead becomes narrower, and they cannot follow where you are going. If you force them forward with you, both of you will suffer trying. You have already sensed this. A conversation that once flowed easily now feels difficult. A place you once enjoyed becomes heavy the moment you enter. You have blamed yourself for the change. You wondered whether you were becoming cold or hard to be around. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming clear. I am removing the haze from your vision. And seeing clearly is often uncomfortable in the beginning. When my servant Elisha was surrounded by an army, his young servant became afraid because of what he could see. Horses, chariots, and no visible escape. Elisha prayed only one thing. He asked me to open the young man's eyes. When I did, the servant saw the hills, filled with fire horses, and forces that had already been standing there. Nothing on the hillside changed. Only his ability to see changed. That is what is taking place in you. The world around you may not have shifted. Your sight has. And now you are beginning to notice what was there all along. Some things you see will be things you wish you had not seen. A hidden reason behind someone's kindness. A repeated pattern you excused for years. A place you continued returning to even though it quietly drained you. I am not teaching you to become suspicious. I am teaching you wisdom. You cannot guard yourself against what you refuse to see. And I am no longer allowing you to be robbed while you remain unaware. Say, I trust you. If you are ready to see clearly. Do not run after what is leaving you. This is the instruction I want you to remember most in the days ahead. When something begins releasing its hold on your life, your first reaction may be to grab it again. You will want to send the text, make the phone call, repair what is breaking apart. Do nothing. Let it leave. What is falling from your life is not falling because you failed. It is falling because it cannot carry the weight of what comes next. I would rather let it break now while nothing is resting on it, than allow it to break later with you underneath. I have never removed something without preparing something better. Not once. You may not have understood it when it happened, but I have never allowed an empty place in your life to remain empty forever. Remember the woman who had almost nothing left except a small amount of oil and a home, surrounded by debt. I did not simply send money to her. I told her to collect empty containers from every neighbor she could, as many as she could gather, then close the door and begin pouring. She filled every empty vessel inside that home, and the oil continued flowing until there was nothing else left to fill. Notice what placed the limit on her. It was not my supply. It was how many empty vessels she was willing to collect. That is why I have been creating empty places in your life, my beloved. Not because I intend to leave you with less, but because I intend to give you room. You have spent so much time grieving what disappeared that you have not noticed the space left behind. There is room in your schedule now. There is room inside your thoughts. There is room where an old pain used to sit and consume much of your strength. I did not clear that ground so it could remain empty. Something will grow there. You may also realize that you no longer have patience for certain things. Empty conversations. People who leave you drained. Arguments that once pulled you in before you even thought about them. You may begin stepping away almost automatically. That is not you becoming distant. It is me teaching you the real value of your peace. And your peace is worth much more than you have treated it as worth. Your peace is connected to your purpose. Protect one, and you protect the other. A choice is moving toward you. I will not tell you exactly when, but it will ask you to choose between what feels familiar and what is right. And this time those things will not be the same. What is familiar will feel safe and remind you of home. What is right will feel uncertain and slightly frightening. You will recognize the right one by peace, not by comfort. Peace and comfort are different. Comfort keeps you in the place you already know. Peace follows you into the place I am leading you. When that choice arrives, do not return backward. You have already grown beyond that place, and nothing remains there except a smaller version of who you have become. You are stronger than anything you have yet been able to prove. You have not faced the exact test that is coming, so you cannot fully know what is inside you yet. But I know. I would not have moved for you during the night if you were unable to stand inside what comes after it. Let me show you how I bring provision toward someone who appears to have nothing. Ruth was a widow who had lost everything that once seemed able to support her life. She found herself in a foreign field with no claim to anything, gathering what harvesters left behind, just so she could eat. She expected nothing beyond scraps. What she did not know was that the owner of the field had already noticed her and quietly instructed his workers. Drop extra handfuls on purpose. Do not embarrass her. Let her gather them without telling her why. There is suddenly so much left behind. She returned home that evening carrying more than someone in her position should have been able to gather, without realizing it had been arranged. That is the shape of what is happening around you. Someone has been moved to let handfuls fall in your direction, and even they may not fully understand why they are doing it. The thought came, and would not leave them alone. They have enough that releasing it will not harm them. I moved them at the right moment, and they followed a prompting they may never explain. You are already gathering from that field, my child, and you still do not understand why the harvest has become so generous. Do not pull away from this. That is the real danger. The danger is not that you will be rejected. It is that when something reaches you, you will not extend your hand because years of having little trained you to expect scraps and be thankful for them. Gratitude is good. Expecting almost nothing is not the same thing as gratitude. There is one more thing I ask of you in this moment, and it is not a small thing, which is why I am asking it plainly. My child, I am asking you to place a portion of what you have, something of real weight, Upon the altar of this work is gold laid on the scales of this calling. Let it be a seed sown into deep water, an offering set on stone, not held back in fear. This is proof that your trust rests in my hand to provide, and that your heart no longer clings to lack. What you release in faith does not leave your life. It moves ahead of you into the harvest I am preparing. Now listen to what remains, because something inside you must break before you can carry what is approaching. Somewhere beneath everything, you believe that you are still not quite enough. You have never declared it openly. You may even disagree with me right now. Yet it appears in the way you apologize for taking up room. It appears when good news comes, and you immediately wait for the moment someone says there was a mistake. It appears in how quickly you believe the problem must have been your fault. That belief never came from me. I have never looked at you and decided you were missing something essential. You judge yourself according to what you achieved, and everything that went wrong. I do not measure you that way. I look at what I made you from, and where I am leading you. Neither of those things changed during any of your hardest seasons. They remained true even on days when getting out of bed felt impossible. Understand this. What is moving toward you is not payment for becoming good enough. If that were the rule, nobody would receive anything from me. It is coming because I chose it for you, and because your hands remained open enough to receive it. My beloved, your hands stayed open. That is what matters. After everything removed from them, you did not turn them into closed fists. You remained kind when bitterness would have been understandable. You shared even when you had little and every reason to protect what remained. You kept believing quietly without needing anyone to notice. I saw every part of it. Nothing escaped my sight. That is why I can trust you with what is arriving. I do not place weight into hands that will use it to wound other people. I know what you will do with abundance, because I watched what you did when you had almost nothing. There is a reason this did not reach you 5 years ago. You asked me why with real hurt in your voice, and many times I did not answer. So I will answer you now. 5 years ago, you would have received it and spent it, trying to repair things money could never repair. You would have poured it into something with no bottom. Within a season it would have disappeared, and you would have remained with the same pain and even less hope. You are different now. Not because you became impressive. You became different because you learned what truly holds and what never will. You learned those lessons in a difficult classroom, and no one can now talk you out of what you know. Do not hate the years it required. They cost you much. They also formed something in you that money cannot purchase and speed cannot produce. You have gained something else you may not recognize. You can sense sooner when something is wrong. Before, someone often had to show you, usually through pain and usually after it was too late. Now you notice earlier. A conversation appears normal but something feels off. An opportunity looks correct but does not sit peacefully inside you. That awareness is not simple anxiety. It is understanding bought at a high cost. And I expect you to use it. So when something good arrives and peace comes with it, do not immediately treat that peace as suspicious. You have spent so much time guarding yourself that you have begun distrusting anything that feels easy. Not everything gentle is hiding danger. Some gentle things simply come from me. You believe you are late. You are not late. You have been protected. A life that is delayed and a life intentionally held can feel exactly the same from the inside. Both feel like standing still while everyone else moves ahead. Both feel like watching someone else walk through a door you wanted more than they seemed to. I understand why you reached the conclusion you did. But you were not late. I was keeping you from arriving before the right time. Look at Joseph. He was young when I gave him a word about his future, yet within years he was sold by his own brothers, taken into another land, falsely accused by a woman who wanted him destroyed, and thrown into prison for something he never did. Later he helped another prisoner, and that man walked free and forgot about Joseph completely. 2 more years passed inside that prison. 2 years of a man carrying a promise while sitting in darkness, forgotten by the one person who could have spoken for him. Then a king dreamed something no one could understand. Suddenly the forgotten prisoner became the only person able to help. In one morning, Joseph was brought out of the cell and placed over a nation. 2 years earlier, that position was not ready. There was nowhere for him to be released into. The delay was not me forgetting where he was. I was keeping him at the entrance until the door existed. You have lived through your own 2 years, perhaps much more. You watched one season after another pass, while everything you attempted seemed unable to move forward. You begged me to tell you why, and I remained quiet. I was not silent because I had left. I stayed quiet because anything I told you then would not have helped. You would have used it to try to make me move faster. There was also a young man called in from a field and anointed with oil before his brothers, told clearly that he would become king. Then, my child, he returned directly to the sheep. No crown, no palace. Years followed where he ran for his life through caves and wilderness, while carrying a promise of a throne, and holding nothing in his hands. The anointing remained real through every year. The waiting never erased it. Some things spoken over you remain true. Even if nothing in your present circumstances seems to confirm them, I want to correct what you believe about certain losses. You have called some events failures, when they were actually exits I placed along the road, to remove you from paths leading somewhere I did not want you to go. That job you did not receive. You have replayed the interview, wondering what you said incorrectly. You did nothing wrong. That place would have taken years from you while returning very little. I closed that door before you could commit yourself to it. That relationship that ended, you carried its ending as evidence that something must be wrong with you. There was nothing wrong with you. The relationship could not fit the direction your life was moving. And from where you stood then, you could not see that. That plan that fell apart at the final moment. You called it terrible luck. It was mercy. It felt like loss because I never showed you the life in which that plan succeeded. Not every painful event was punishment. Much of what hurt was protection wearing a face you did not yet know how to recognize. Now the season of being held is ending. You are leaving preparation and entering release. Those seasons feel completely different. During preparation, great effort can produce almost nothing visible, and you wonder whether your work matters. During release, a small movement can produce much more than it should. One conversation creates an opening. A door closed for years moves with the first push. You will feel the difference in how much effort is required, and you will wonder what changed. What changed is that while you were not watching, the ground was being prepared. I am also changing the way time feels to you. You have spent years rushing inside yourself, always believing you needed to catch up, always carrying a quiet panic that there was not enough road left. That pressure is beginning to leave you. You will discover that you can wait for something without feeling sick inside. You will be able to turn down something good, because you know something better is ahead. That is not laziness. That is authority. Only someone who trusts that more is available can turn away from an offer that is not right. My child, you and I have traveled a long road, although you did not always recognize that I was beside you. There were nights when you spoke into darkness and heard no reply. You took that silence as proof nobody was listening. I was nearer during those nights than during the seasons when life seemed easy. I do not move away when things become difficult. I become quieter because difficult seasons are often when you finally listen. I want you to look at the last few years through different eyes. Choose one painful thing you went through, one thing you still feel angry about. Look carefully at what it taught you, what it removed from you, who it moved out of your life, and what road it made impossible for you to return to. Then ask yourself honestly whether you could carry what is coming without learning what that season taught you. I already know the answer. because I do not allow suffering without purpose. I allow suffering that is costly but effective, and I do not enjoy watching any of it, and I waste none of it. Nothing you have gone through will remain lying behind like a useless piece of your life. Every part will be worked into what happens next, even the parts that still make you feel ashamed. One day you will look back over this stretch of your road and try to find the part that was wasted. You will search for it and discover there was none. A calmness is coming into you that will seem strange beside your circumstances. You will be standing in the middle of something that once would have made your heart race, and you will suddenly notice that you are steady. Nothing outside you may be different. The payment may still be due. The problem may still be there. But the panic that usually came with it simply will not appear. Do not distrust that calm or explain it away. It is not pretending the problem does not exist. It is what begins to happen when some deep place inside you finally believes you are being held. There was a night when Peter sat locked inside a prison with chains around both wrists, guards beside him, and death planned for the morning. Yet he slept. He was not pacing or bargaining. He was sleeping so deeply that when I sent help into the cell, he had to be struck on the side before he woke. The chains fell from his wrists. He passed one guard after another and reached a gate that opened on its own. Through all of it, he believed he might be dreaming. Only after he stood outside alone in the street with the night around him did he understand it was real. That is how your freedom will feel. It will not necessarily feel like a great victorious moment. It may feel like something you are only half convinced is happening. Later, when you are standing in open space with the closed door behind you, you will understand what took place. So do not wait for some sign so large that doubt becomes impossible. That is not usually my way. I often move through chains falling quietly during the night while the people who wanted you trapped are sleeping. Say, I receive it. If your heart is receiving this, then your priorities are already shifting, and you can feel it. Things that once sat at the top of your life have moved lower. Problems that used to consume entire weeks of your thinking now seem strangely small when you consider them. And things you ignored for years have started pressing gently but constantly on your heart, refusing to remain unnoticed. That is not confusion. That is me changing the order of what matters inside you without needing to argue with you. You are also becoming much less concerned with whether everyone understands you. This is one of the great freedoms of the season ahead. You spent years explaining yourself, defending what you chose, and making your decisions softer so other people would feel comfortable with them. That pattern is beginning to disappear. Some people close to you will not understand what is taking place. They will notice that you have become quieter in certain places and more firm in others. They may ask what changed, and you may not know how to explain because what changed happened somewhere they were never present. You do not owe everyone the whole story. Some things I reveal are meant to guide your feet, not entertain a crowd. Listen for peace, my beloved. That is the sign I have given you, and you can trust it. When you stand between two paths, do not ask which one looks more impressive, or which one other people would prefer. Notice which one allows you to breathe. Not which one feels easiest, but which one becomes quiet inside your spirit. Excitement can be created by pressure and fear. Peace cannot be copied inside you. There is an inner awareness growing stronger in you for months. You have doubted it because you learned to seek permission outside yourself. That knowing is not nervousness and not imagination. It is my voice becoming familiar to you, speaking in a way you can truly recognize. My voice will not rush you. It will not shame you. It will not bring panic with it. Anything that forces you to decide instantly, before you have time to think or pray, does not come from me. Urgency is not the same as haste. I will make it clear when the moment is now. I will not make you frantic. There is a doorway ahead that only you can enter. Nobody can walk through it for you, and nobody else can be sent in your place. From the outside, it may not look important. It rarely does. It may be a conversation you have delayed, a small opening that looks less than what you hoped for, a request that reaches you at an inconvenient time. You have been expecting something huge and obvious. Because of that, you could pass the real doorway because it looks too ordinary to be the answer. Naaman almost did. He was powerful, sick, and desperate. He traveled far seeking healing, and was told to wash in an ordinary river 7 times. He felt insulted. He expected something dramatic. He expected a hand waved over him and some great declaration. He nearly returned home still sick, because the instructions seemed too simple for such a serious problem. His servants convinced him to obey. He washed, and he came out healed. Do not look down on a small instruction, my child. The size of what you are asked to do does not reveal the size of what it may open. You may also begin needing far less approval than you needed before. Opinions that once mattered greatly will begin losing their hold. Something someone says about you that could have destroyed you a year ago may reach you and simply fall away. When you notice this, it may feel strange, almost like something has been lost because so much of your life was shaped around what others thought. Nothing has been lost. Something that always belonged to you is being returned. And this is what that freedom is for. Someone who does not depend on approval can be sent anywhere. Someone who needs approval can only go where approval is already waiting. I am preparing to send you into places where people may not clap for you, so I am cutting that dependence now, before you arrive. Now hear me carefully about something serious because I will not make it softer. Not every opportunity remains open forever. Some things I place before a person are available for a season. If that season passes without response, the thing does not simply disappear. It moves to hands willing to receive it. I am not telling you this to create fear. I am telling you because I have watched people stand directly before an answered prayer, study it, decide they need more time, and never return. You have done this before. You know that you have, and you carried the pain quietly afterward. I will not let you repeat it without warning you first. What is coming before you requires something, but it is not skill and it is not money. It requires response. A yes that becomes action. Awareness that becomes movement. Once something is shown to you, you cannot return to not knowing it. That is why I have been careful about what I reveal. Every truth I show you increases what is expected from you. And I never increase expectation before I increase ability. You are ready. That is why this moment has arrived. So when the moment appears, and it will appear sooner than you think, do not remain there examining it until it passes you. I want to tell you what happens after you receive. You will become a source for others. This is the part few people expect. You spent so long being the person who needed support that you have difficulty imagining yourself becoming the person who gives it. But that is exactly what I am forming. What enters your hands will not end with you. It will pass through you into the lives of people you love, and beyond them into lives you may never know about. This has always been my way. I do not fill someone simply so they can remain full. I fill them until what they carry reaches those standing around them. Think about Isaac. Famine covered the land. Real famine. Yet I told him not to leave, but to sow into that dry soil anyway. Everyone around him was saving, holding back, protecting whatever little remained. He planted during a year when planting seemed foolish. And in that same year, he received 100-fold harvest in the middle of famine from ground that produced almost nothing for others. The harvest was never really about the soil. It was about obedience. You carry people in your prayers. I know every name. I know the names you can speak clearly and the ones you can hardly say without your voice breaking. Hear me. What I am doing in your life will touch them too. Not because you force it, but because what I give will overflow. You have tried to rescue some of them through your own effort, and it exhausted you without changing them. That assignment was never yours. Your assignment is to become so clearly held that they cannot explain your steadiness. that will reach them. Not your arguments, your steadiness. There is a woman in my word who had only a handful of flour and a little oil left. She was gathering sticks to prepare one last meal for her household before there was nothing more to eat. Then a prophet arrived and asked her to prepare something small for him first. By every human measure, the request seemed unreasonable. She obeyed, and the flour did not run out. The oil continued day after day through the entire famine. She was not rewarded because she possessed much. She was rewarded because she released what she had during a moment when releasing seemed foolish. I have seen that same instinct in you. You have given during times when you barely had enough yourself. That is why I can trust you with more. And that is why more is coming. Let me speak now to the fear beneath everything I have said. The fear you rarely admit. You are afraid the good thing will arrive and then disappear. You are afraid you will allow yourself to hope, finally receive it, lose it, and end up hurting more than if it had never arrived. That fear came from real things you lived through. I will not make fun of it. But look closely at what that fear is actually doing. It is not preserving your peace. It is keeping your life small by rejecting every possible good thing before it can ever be lost. That is not protection. It is surrender that learned to call itself wisdom. I am not bringing something fragile into your life. What I am establishing is meant to remain. It is not a quick wave of good fortune that disappears before the year ends. It is a foundation built slowly in ground no one could see. That is one reason it required so much time. Anything I build too quickly may need rebuilding. What I am putting beneath you now is meant to be built once. You will understand its strength when storms come against it. Difficult days will still exist. I never promised a life without storms. But you will pass through something that would have destroyed you 3 years ago. And you will come out still standing. That is when you will know what was built beneath your feet. You are also becoming more honest with yourself than before. There are things in your own life you have avoided looking at directly. Certain patterns, a resentment you keep feeding, a part of yourself you have simply accepted as something that will never change. Those things are coming into the light, and you may not enjoy it. Do not fight against the process. I am not revealing them to embarrass you. I am revealing them because I intend to heal them. And healing cannot reach something you, and I keep pretending is not there. So let me tell you where this leads, because you have been waiting for some hidden catch and there is none. Months from now you will wake on an ordinary morning and realize fear is gone. Not controlled. Not calmed down. Gone. You will prepare your coffee. Stand inside your kitchen, and suddenly notice that the tight feeling you carried in your chest for years is no longer there. You may not even be able to identify exactly when it disappeared. That will be the day you finally understand what happened while you were sleeping. You will look back toward this moment and recognize that this was the turning point. Not because something dramatic happened around you, but because this was where you stopped expecting pain and began expecting something good. I am restoring things you quietly stopped believing would ever return. There are matters you removed from your prayers because continuing to ask hurt too much. You never stopped believing I was able. You simply stopped believing I would do it for you. So you silently removed those things from your prayers to protect yourself from more disappointment. I know every one of them. Bring them back. The amount of time something has remained broken does not limit me. Time does not weaken my ability. Something may remain ruined for 20 years and still be restored in one afternoon. Those 20 years do not make restoration harder for me. They only make it sweeter when you receive it. There will be a reunion you once believed could never happen. There will be a door you watched shut and heard lock that will open again. You will stand before it unable to move for a moment because some part of you had already accepted that you would never see it open again. Some things that were taken will also return, though not always in the same form. Sometimes I restore the exact thing. Other times I restore what that thing was meant to bring into your life, which is often better and usually lasts longer. My beloved, listen to me. You are not fragile. You have believed a story about yourself in which you only barely survived difficulty, and that story is false. You have not barely survived. You carried loads that would have broken many people, often without praise, without support, and without stopping. You have never seen yourself completely clearly. From where I stand, you look very different from the image inside your mind. You see someone exhausted behind, and always slightly failing. I see someone who remained faithful in darkness when nobody was watching and there was no reward for doing so. That is the place where faithfulness is truly tested, and I remember every single day. Now move forward. Not cautiously. Not expecting something to go wrong. Not with one hand behind you holding the old doorway. Walk like someone who is expected somewhere. The season of simply holding on has ended. You held on with everything you had, and now you do not need to live that way anymore. What comes next is not something you must hold together. It is something you receive. Keep your hands open. That is your only instruction. Everything I have spoken tonight leads back to that one thing. Do not close your hands around what is leaving. Do not close them around fear. Do not close them around the old story. I will take care of the timing. I will take care of the people. I will take care of the provision, the doorway, and those who believed they could speak the final word over your life. None of that belongs to you. Your work is simply to remain awake and keep your hands open. There will be days ahead when everything I have said feels untrue. A difficult week may come and the old dread may return and sit in the same familiar place as if it never left. When this happens, do not become afraid and do not use that feeling as proof that I lied. A feeling can return without the reality returning. Let it move through you. It has no authority here. During those days, remember this moment. Remember that something changed for you while you slept and required nothing from you except your attention. I am not far away. I am not watching from some distant height, deciding whether you have finally earned my involvement. I am here, close enough to hear even the words you cannot speak. And I have remained here through every year when you believed you were managing everything alone. You were never doing it alone. On the days you thought you were dragging yourself forward, you were being carried. From here, the heaviness begins lifting. From here, the confusion begins clearing. From here, provision begins moving toward you. And the version of you buried beneath years of simply getting through life, the one who laughs easily, sleeps deeply, and is not always calculating every possibility, is returning. Not someone new. The person who was always inside you. I love you. Not vaguely. Not merely as one person among many. I love you specifically, by name, knowing everything you have done, and everything you fear I might discover. There is nothing left you need to hide from me, and nothing left you need to earn. So raise your head, my child. The night has ended. What was being formed against you was stopped before it reached you. And what has been prepared for you is already moving toward you. The only thing remaining is for you to be looking up when it arrives. Keep looking up. And when it comes, when you are finally holding the very thing you stopped asking me for, do not waste that day asking yourself whether you deserve it. That question has already been settled, and it was never your responsibility to answer. Simply receive it. Let joy show on your face, and let the people around you witness what happens to someone who kept their hands open through the darkness. Say, yes, I am ready. If from this day you are walking forward with me, we run on viewer support only. For exclusive member-only content, scan the QR or see the pinned comment. God bless you.